Welcome back, everyone. We know right now the gloomy job market has a lot of you staying in positions you might otherwise want to leave. You're just happy to have a job, but what if being miserable in your career takes a toll on your health? Dr. Matt Sager is with us this morning. He is the Director of Hospital Psychiatry at St. Mary's. Dr. Sager, thanks so much for joining us.
No,
we
my
really
pleasure.
appreciate you coming in today. Okay, we've got a recent study that shows people who are not happy at work more than twice as likely to die over a 20-year period. Now that sounds a bit dire, but there's some interesting findings in this study.
Yeah, the study itself had several ideas they were testing, but one that came out that is probably most important is this idea of peer support. And finding emotional support at the work setting. I think we were talking before, you spend so much time at work nowadays, it's important to make sure you're having that benefit, and a lot of times it's not there.
We spend, again, the majority of our waking hours at work. So
Right.
what does this study tell us if we're not happy on the job? Do we have some control over,
Yeah, that's a good, the idea of, is it the chicken or the egg? Do happy workers make a happy workplace, and then that's contagious? Or is it that the workplace itself cultivates people being happy? I think the idea here is that you really want to find some people that you can connect with and know that you're going through the same situation, the same day-to-day toils,
so even
and
if
can
you're
talk
miserable,
about it.
you can commiserate?
Exactly, exactly.
Okay, so the social support there is what's important. Another interesting point, this was across gender.
Yes.
It didn't matter, men or women. What was interesting, though, is that men, if they had more control over their work day or more say over their job, seemed to fare better than women in that same scenario.
And
Why do you suppose that is?
They were careful not to draw any conclusions about why, and I was sort of debating about which half of the population am I going to offend with commenting on this, but I think the main thing is the perceived sense of control. So for whatever reason, the context of males and their jobs, often the perceived sense of control of the work setting seems to be beneficial, but for women that wasn't the case. They think it may have to do with the fact that women are asked to do a lot these days and control a lot of aspects of their life, and if you're doing that at work, it may just be overload.
If you are frustrated right now in your career and you don't feel like you have many other options, what would you say is the first best step toward creating, besides just finding other people who might be, in the same sort of scenario, do you have any advice for somebody out there to really kind of take that first step toward changing their own situation?
Well, it's important to note that the study wasn't about happiness, but health promotions in the work setting. So I think people want to draw the conclusion about happiness from this, but it's really that people with peer supports were healthier at work. So if people aren't happy, that's a different idea, and I think they'll probably need to look for those supports and find them wherever they can.
And go to your doctor.
That's an idea.
That might be. You're happy at work.
Sure, I'm happy.
A lot of workplaces are putting more emphasis on this right now in terms of taking care of yourself, and
yes.
So hopefully that this is something that workplaces will get just as much out of as workers.
It'd be nice to see that cultivated a bit.
All
Yes.
right, Dr. Sager, thanks so much for joining us
Sure,
today.
my pleasure.
We really appreciate it.